So I just saw a video made by Steve Bannon, which was really quite interesting. Um, he was talking about the importance of the Northwest Passage. Uh, so, again, Trump wants to be a peacemaker and a deal maker. Well, I'd say that deal with Canada is real easy. We have always been a very loyal friend to America. So that's why you're getting kind of backlash of people booing the American anthem. You need to appreciate that actually did hurt our feelings. Like we're a little tender, eh? Sensitive and whatnot. Or at least some of us are. But as for, well, like I said before, my dad was a land sailor. He was, well, actually, maybe I didn't say this before. I did tell you that he was stationed in Halifax during the Bay of Pigs. But most of the time he was up north in the Arctic. So, yes, we need to expand the north. And we can do that with immigration. And like I said, we could bring back some free land for Canadians. We got a whole lot of land which is worth some bucks. So that means Canadians own a big chunk of the world's real estate. And we need to expand into the north. And actually, the farther north we go, the more we have a claim to it, right? So... But again, we can do this right. We could the North and the Northern Lights are miraculous. I have never had. Well, I have seen them in the South the odd time, but my buddy Land has been to the far north and taken some really really cool pictures. So, you see that's commonplace. So there could be kind of a winter tourism, right? Again, Canada's such a gem. We have so many beautiful places. It's incredible. So, but all I really want to get across with that is that we really need to examine our role in the world. And our role in the world used to be that of peacekeeping, right? The guy that blew the whistle on Rwanda and the genocide that was happening there with the Hutus and I can't remember the other one, but it was it was terrible. And but because it was in Rwanda, no one cared because they don't have any oil that anyone's aware of or any resources, gold, diamonds, that kind of thing. Because those are the kind of place to get all the freedom, you see, right? That's why Canada needs some more freedom because we have actually all of that. We have some of the best mining in the world, which we also gave away. That was a documentary I saw, which really made me angry. I think it was on TVO actually, but it was quite a while ago. But I think it was Sir Douglas, that one of the original founding fathers of Canada, basically sold all of our natural resources, like precious metals that we are discovering in Sudbury, but basically any sort of any impact zone, there's a very good chance there'll be quality metals there. There's a chunk of, well, I don't know if you could call it an asteroid or whatever, but it's huge out in the Oort Belt. That is well, it has so much gold in it that if it were brought back to Earth, it would destabilize the economy, which is where we kind of are right now, because we are in a pivotal time in our history, because the American empire is ending. The petrodollar like the Bush family has, well, there's probably been no better or no actually more infamous betrayer of America than the Bush family, because they took the American dollar off the gold standard and made the petrodollar. That was a deal with Saudi Arabia so that they would only sell their gasoline or oil. Well, I guess actually pretty much anything. They would sell it in the American greenback, which they're not doing anymore. Now there's BRICS, and they were buying in rubles. They were buying in yen. Another thing that, again, this is something that should be common knowledge, but isn't, but, yeah, so like we're really living in strange days and interesting times, as the old curse went. But going back to the North and the Northwest Passage, so this is why we really do need to have a presence up north. And like Steve Bannon was saying, we can charge Russia and China and Iran and anybody really that they can fast track their, Asian Pacific products over to Europe quicker and more efficiently. But see, this is the other part of that. Our logistics are stupid. Like, one of the reasons why Canada and America is so intertwined, because our auto industry is so intertwined. So like, and again, I know a lot of people that work in the auto industry and, building these sort of parts. In fact, one of my good friends owns, shout out to Scott, at Forest City Castings. And, one of their clients is, well, they have all kinds of clients, but NASA. Like, he's got quite the business going there. Incredibly, quite the facility, in fact. But anyway, nonetheless, we totally need to bring back more manufacturing and, guys like Scott, it would be, although he was telling me the other day that he did actually go to teachers college to teach, and he was like, there's no way I could do this because I'd be throwing kids out windows, which, well, we both played hockey in Forest, so. And we were both being groomed to be goons. That's funny that we talked about that, because that's what they wanted him to be too. But that was that was back in the 80s. Like, you had to be 6'5" and a goon, whereas I'm 5'11" and a goon. Well, not really. I didn't want to be a goon, but I just kind of was good at fighting like my dad is. And, well, not so much my brother. My brother's always been a lover, not a fighter. But he's also the one that's 6'3". Like, he should have been playing pro. But anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. So yeah, we got to open up the North, but I think we also need to understand that, America's not the player in the world that it used to be. And also, again, like, America hasn't been giving us the greatest advice all along. Like, like I said about how back in the Bay of Pigs, the Canadian brass, and actually, well, no, I'll finish this thought. The Canadian brass should have known at the time that that was crazy, that you were about to start World War III. Like, for what? What do you mean? You want to blow up Cuba, and you think that's a good idea? Like, but no, we were just like, oh, okay, then, like, guess we're just gonna do what we're told, which is what we've always done. Like, that is, Jimmy Dore says that America is the most propagandized. He also says that only Americans go bankrupt, and that is false. I'm living proof that the system, like, I lost my house too, right? I'm out $500,000 in lost wages. So I took a hit so that Manulife could, be more profitable. But yeah, no, going back to the Northwest Passage, we have to re-examine where we are in the world, who our real allies are. What's happening with Trump, again, I can't say this enough. Like, believe me, I have no love for Trump, but I also, I give credit where credit is due, and he has done a few good things. One of them was getting us out of Afghanistan, which again, Canada signed up for. You have your Patriot Act, America. We have Bill C-52 or C-51, I don't know, one or the other, but it's the same thing. And so does London, so does England, so does Australia, so does New Zealand. The Five Eyes basically have the same rollout of the same laws. Like I said before, originally the AMA told our Canadian politicians that they wouldn't recognize Canadian doctors worldwide unless we allowed third-party American-style insurance, aka neo-fascist American capitalism, predatory capitalism. Because again, a part of that whole defend, deny, defend, depose thing is the depose. And the depose thing is like that, just that. Like you lose your house, you have no voice, you're no longer, you have no rights, like at all, because you're basically a non-human. I know, I went off on a crazy tangent there. This is, I guess, the bottom line. I wish we had a political party that wasn't so far right wing. Like, the Liberal Party is not, like, everything has been pushed so far right? Or in other words, the left has been pushed so far back. Like, Canada used to be a social democracy. We used to have more Canadian jobs, which is why we need to increase our military and why we need to, but also evolve with the military. Like, the military should, okay, here's something I would like to say. The military shouldn't police, and the police shouldn't be soldiers. But right now we have this weird mashup of those two things. I think, again, we need to have a kind of a grown-up conversation about our modern world. Like, we really don't need a land army anymore. We're not going to be fighting. For one, how about we just give the idea of peace a chance? Like, again, if we built a bridge, like we could build a literal bridge from Alaska to Russia. If Alaska was on board with that, maybe Alaska will want to become a part of Canada, which should be anyway. Actually, it used to belong to Russia, and then America bought it, I think, something like that. But we could, again, build a far more green thing. Like, this is the other, like, flying planes is terrible. It's just burning straight. That's how a jet engine works. It's just heating air, basically. So, I mean, if you could heat air in a more efficient way, you could make a more efficient jet, which is why we need to bring back our own science and technology to Canada, because we did invent all the coolest shit, right? Like, it was so good that the Americans had to make it go away. Right? With the Snowbird, or no, what was that? The Arrow program. So in other words, you need to make the military cool again, which means you can't be about just going around killing everybody. Because here's the other part of this new generation. One thing I do find with younger kids these days, is they are very empathetic for the most part. Like like I said, in my just last case, it was these kids had an agenda. Like, they were playing games, because they got away with it. And that's the other thing about like why Scott couldn't be a teacher, because it really does take it takes a certain sort of thick skin, you might want to say. But yeah, before this video gets too long, thanks for listening.